static query that is fetching all these movies. What I'd like to be able to do here is provide maybe some input field where we can search for a particular movie, giving a title. So let's take a look at that. So what we're going to do is that we're going to add an input field at the beginning of our UL, maybe right over here, perhaps an input field. So input, and maybe a button that we can click for searching. So button and then search. Something like that, and we can type the title of the movie that we're searching for and then click on search. All right, so to do that, we're going to what we're going to do is that we're going to keep track in our state of the movie title that we want to search on, right? So this will be a movie title. At first will be empty. And our input field can take on that value. The original value would be this dot state dot movie. What do we call it? Movie title. So movie title. Right. Notice that if I put here avatar, right? The initial value of my input field will be avatar. There it is. See that? It says avatar. But I can't change it. I can't change it. Right, because it's the state of this input field is tied to the state in the component, right? If it wants to change, somehow I need to change the state of that input of that variable. So let's do that. And what we're going to do is that we're going to keep track of any changes to this field. We're going to say if it changes on change, we're going to call a function saying that this dot update form. Okay, so any modifications to the form, and your form might be fairly complex, not just an input field, might have several drop downs, check boxes, radio buttons, whatever. As it changes, we will be notifying this particular function with all our updates. Yes, and this function doesn't exist right now, but it's right here. We're going to declare it right here. So update form, and I'm going to use a notation. This is the new and improved arrow notation of ES6. I'm declaring a function that takes no arguments, and we're going to do console log form updated. Okay, so we can take a look at the inspect, and we can look at the console. So as I type, let me clear this. So as I type, notice that it's calling our form update. So for every change. But it's not changing the state. What we need to do is that we can use the whenever we invoke an on change, an event gets triggered, which gets passed to whoever's handling, right? Whoever the function that is declared there, and we can print out the event. Right? The event is going to have lots of information in here. So as I click on it, notice that it's generating all these events. In particular, we want to get a hold here of the field that generated this event. We can grab it here as a target. This target is the input field that generated the event, right? So we're going to say event.target, which happens to be that input field, and we can grab anything of value in there. We can grab the value of the target, which will be whatever the input field value has, right? So let's take a look at there. So if we type, notice that it's saying avatar plus any key that I'm pressing. Right? It wants to change. It wants to change, but we're not letting it. It's tied to that initial state, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to change the state. We're going to say this dot set state. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to change the title to this new event target value. I'm going to change that, and it's going to accumulate the value. All right, so now, as I type, notice that indeed it is changing. Everybody good? All right. So now I can type. I can type and keep track of that state. I can render that anywhere, so that the state is actually changing anywhere. So if I say type it over here, I can say this dot state dot movie title. So anywhere where it's so notice it says avatar right there. See that? As I change this, Notice that it changes anywhere that it's being referenced. Right? So I do have a hold of that input field, which I'm going to use when I click on the search button. When I'm using the search button, I'm going to go send it to the server. Very good. Let's do that next.